Some Confederate monuments on public property, like this one of General Robert E. Lee, are still standing tall. Others did not make it through the summer intact after racial tensions fueled by unchecked police violence against black men. Park visitors and residents remain divided on what to do with these reminders of America's dark past. Would you want it to stay, or would you want it to be removed?
Honestly, I would like it to stay. I feel like you're erasing history, when you take down things. I mean, we wouldn't be here if we didn't have this.
What is your impression when you come upon a monument like this of Stonewall Jackson?
Well, I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised because he sort of looks like Superman. He's this big, muscular guy. And that's not the Stonewall Jackson I know. He was kind of sickly. And if you go in the visitor center, there's some uniforms, and they wouldn't fit a modern-day 14-year-old.
What would you like to see, Carlos? Would you rather see the monument stay or have it removed?
Frankly, in my opinion, I feel like it should be removed. If you are one of those few who are always talking about we want to make a change for our culture, for our community, and stand up for each other and be unity as one, I feel like the best thing we could do is take down the monument. If we're trying to make sure that everybody in the community is going through a positive change, why keep a monument that only speaks about negative stuff?
In 2020, a survey by the Southern Poverty Law Center found 704 Confederate monuments in the U.S., with the majority, 341 of them, in the southern states of Georgia, North Carolina, Texas, and Virginia. Since 1923, 64 Confederate monuments were removed, nearly all of those between 2015 and 2017. But just over this past summer, another 60 monuments came down, nearly doubling the frequency of removal in a few short months. Many see the monuments as a constant reminder of past and present racism in the United States and an unmoving example of white supremacy and white history.
My thoughts basically explain is everybody's preaching about making a change. Everyone's always talking about let's make the first step forward on trying to make a change. How come instead of you preaching about making the change, why aren't you making a step forward? Why don't you be a part of the change rather than preaching about it?
Former Deputy Mayor of New Orleans, Ryan BERNI. BERNI was responsible for removing 4 Confederate monuments from the city. Mr. BERNI, how difficult was it to remove those monuments?
Removing Confederate monuments has been a much more difficult task than I think anybody initially imagined. Obviously, this country's never really dealt with the issue of race forthrightly, and certainly our original sin of slavery. But the nostalgia for the Confederacy is alive and well, particularly across the southern part of the United States.
We asked public officials from Congress and the National Park Service to the local NAACP to talk about removing Confederate monuments on federal properties. None wanted to address it. BERNI is not surprised.
It's very clear that these symbols of the Confederacy, of which there are some 1,700 across the country, that includes monuments, street names, school names, and other park names. It's been very tough for us to deal with.
Here at the Manassas National Battlefield Park, 700,000 visitors come each year to visit the 30-foot Stonewall Jackson Monument. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon because the Park Service promised in 1940 that it wouldn't ever be removed. In 1940, sons of the Confederate veterans gave the land and the monument to the National Park Service with the agreement that it would be a permanent, everlasting tribute to the Confederate soldiers.
Statues like this, I am not entirely sure, are absolutely necessary for the purpose of communicating the history. They seem more glorifying than educational. I think there could be better ways to do it that weren't so grandiose and the things that tends to communicate.
And while politicians and the public slowly debate the necessity of Civil War monuments like these, they will continue to fill our public parks with painful reminders of America's past.